we're going to have to get people over from the previous one to come over here. All right, so hello everybody. I hope you are seeing me. You're probably going to see me in a second here as we do this. But I'm going to quickly post that I am live on Twitter so everybody knows. All right, tweet. All right, so let's see if we can get people over here. Let's see what the quality is. Fingers crossed that it is better and that this is a normal latency, which means it should be a little bit smoother, but maybe not perfect. We'll have to see how this looks. So fingers crossed that looks okay. No promises. But we'll wait for some people to jump in. If you're in, welcome everybody. Audio is good, old time engineer, welcome. So, wait for a few more people to come here. Let's talk some life. Let's talk some plans for the podcast. And I want some feedback here on your thoughts. Boy, you want. Now, this is not my studio. I actually have a pretty nice studio downstairs. I bought a long Ethernet cable. I got to run Ethernet in there because unfortunately, the Wi-Fi in the studio is too weak to be able to actually do a live stream from. It has been a long time in NYC since the live stream's done. So yeah, so we're going to set up the studio where I got the professional cameras. This is just my webcam camera. And we have the professional lighting, and I have a table on order right now from Amazon coming in that'll allow me to have kind of a desk set up in there. That'll be a pretty cool setup where I can have it built specifically for live streams with a nice background, a nice setup here, better lighting, better camera, and all that. But my thought is a little bit that we could do, maybe start off weekly with live shows, maybe go to a few times a week, and have almost a talk radio-esque show here with conversations, questions, and we break down the news. We kind of go over everything about big news events around the world, tech and non-tech related, life, things that interest me, and more where we chat. I don't know what everybody would think about that, but that's my idea, is to do regular shows. Now, I'm using a Blue Yeti microphone. This is not the microphone I would typically have. This is not the camera I would typically have. But I got sick of waiting for this desk I got on order that's back ordered. By the way, am I the only one that can't seem to get anything anytime recent? We ordered a cabinet for the hallway of our new home. It's back in October and it hasn't been delivered. It's April now. So even though we ordered that in October, it's not here yet. It took almost a full year to get a hot tub we ordered delivered. So a lot of things are delayed. The desk I want for the studio in there is delayed. And now that I got this Ethernet cable, I still have to run it. So that's kind of where we are right now. Have I thought about doing some collaborations with other YouTubers? I do. I have. Kind of some things I can't really... I can't compete with Core Cars News. So that kind of limits a lot of the YouTubers I know would probably fall in that thing, which limits a little bit. But I'm looking at some other YouTubers maybe and stuff. If you have anybody you want to suggest, I'll love to hear from you. But we are looking at all things. So if you're looking for cord cutting though, with the kind of live breakdown show, that's going to be with Jess. We're not going to talk anything cord cutting. So I encourage everybody here to continue to support Jess. Help her out as she does her weekly cord cutting things. I think she's really killing it with the show. Give her your support. All right. So, a podcast. I've ordered a new thing. We got the cameras in. We got the lighting set up in the studio and more. I just need the desk to sit behind. I can set up the computer screens on to do the live stream there. I got the Ethernet cable to run from this office, which is on one end of my home, all the ways over to the other end of the home where the studio is. So I'm on the main floor in the basement, and the other corner is where my little studio is that we've built, which has got the sound paneling, it's got the professional lighting and more. That will be there. We'll do it all in there for a regular live show. So I'd love to know, what would you like to see in a live show? What kind of topics would you like? I am looking into having a voicemail line and an email box that I'm setting up where you can submit emails, you can submit voicemail recordings, and we can play them here in the show and talk all things tech, all things life. So leave me a comment. Let me know what you would like to see. I'd love to hear from you. But bear with me. I got kind of sick of waiting for everything to come in. So I said, heck it. Let's just go ahead and, even though the audio and video quality may not be the best, but we can still talk. Health update real quick, because I get a lot of questions. My hip is healing. Thank you, everybody, for the kind words. I had my hip surgery about 8 weeks ago now, and it's doing really well. I'm very, very happy with how it's healing and how it's developing. Huge thank you to the doctors out there. They're unbelievably great and so helpful with everything, so thank you. Very excited to get that. Got my first COVID shot, so I got that first one down. I got the other one coming up in about a week. Very excited to finally get that done, get back to life. Kind of nice. Feels like health and life is getting back to normal. A few things. Something that's been bugging me, I thought I would bring up in the show. Alexa. So, which she probably is going to go off here in a second. But, am I the only one increasingly... Okay, she's talking. I'm not sure you can hear that, but I probably should have muted her before I did this segment. But has anybody noticed their echo? Sometimes when you ask things, it's like if you don't ask so specifically, no one seems to understand. It doesn't understand you. For instance, yesterday I was trying to change the temp, and I asked my Echo to please turn up the heat on the main floor. And it gave me an error message. I re-asked, I said, please turn up the temp on the main floor. And understood. Come on, Amazon. I think we could do a little bit better on how you're breaking out the voice commands there. Is anybody ever really annoyed with your Echo or Siri or Google that sometimes it's like you're asking the most common sense things and it doesn't understand? My other complaint about Echoes is recently when I asked for like the score of a sports game, it's giving me the score from like 2 games ago. Like there was a game today. I asked for the score. It says, well, last Saturday. I'm like, no, I don't want to know last Saturday's game. I want to know April 1st's game. So, it's really weird. Old Time Engineer, he says where he lives, he's still unable to get his shot. I find that kind of weird because here they're opening it up to everybody 18 over because they have more shots than people trying to get it. So I find it interesting. It really depends on where you live. Where do you live, Old Time Engineer? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. We have a birthday today to celebrate. Apple today turns 45 years old. Think of how different the world would be right now if Apple didn't enter it. Now, for all the things, I'm not much of an Apple guy anymore. I used to have a iPod. I have an iPad, which I mostly got because if you want to have an app, back when I had an app for my old company, we had to have an iPad in order to be able to have our application on the Apple Store. It required you to do that. So I had one. But even though I'm not a big fan of Apple products anymore, I kind of think they're overpriced for what you get. Apple is undoubtedly one of the biggest influences in the world of technology right now. And I think it's great. I think the competition between Apple and Google and Apple and Microsoft and all these others makes technology better overall. Without Apple, we would be in a place right now where probably we'd be 10 years behind where we are today, to be honest with you. On the flip side, without Google, we'd be in the same place. Without Microsoft, we would be in the same situation where we would be years behind where we are today. Actually, I had a college student come door to door to me, and he was doing a survey about economics. One of the things he asked me, he was pretty clearly pushing a socialist agenda in his paper. He wanted to have people agree that socialism was the right thing. But he asked me, do I believe that competition wastes natural resources and time by having multiple companies compete against each other? And honestly, no, because without competition, without Apple fighting Google, fighting Microsoft, and more, then no, I don't believe that we would be nearly as far advanced. Without competition, we don't get great technological advancements outside of maybe major medical catastrophes like the pandemic or war. So we'll have to wait and see how that all works out. But yeah, happy birthday, Apple. 45 years old today. And let me know, are you an Apple person? How much of an Apple person are you, or what was the last one? NYC says he's currently watching on an iPhone 11. Sam says the iPod Nano 3rd Gen was the best. I actually really loved the iPod Classic. I have an iPod Classic, like the 128 gig one. So here, problem is the battery's completely shot in it, and if it's not plugged in, it doesn't work anymore. Honestly, though, with phones nowadays, this is just kind of where I get everything. Unfortunately, I have to keep my phone plugged in. So am I the only one that does this? Let me know. Maybe I'm embarrassing myself here. I put my phone on the wireless charger, but I forgot to center it, and it didn't charge last night. Has anyone ever done that? Have you ever put your phone on the wireless charger, even though I have a stand? You know, sometimes you have to have it just right. You know, you have it a little off, it doesn't charge. Woke up this morning with only 7% battery power left on my phone because I forgot to charge it last night. Am I the only one? Is that embarrassing? I don't know. As somebody who's supposed to be good with tech, that kind of is like, really, Luke? Did you not look to make sure you were charging it? I don't know if I'm the only one. Hey, Ed, welcome to have you here. So, yeah, so I'm looking at doing these shows regularly, though I don't know what time, I don't know what day. I'll probably start off maybe once a week. But once the studio downstairs is built, once the new desk shows up, whenever that gets delivered and I get put together, I have the lighting equipment set up, I have the camera set up, I have the microphones ready. Having a full-blown regular show where we break down major live breaking news and in the world of technology. And we talk about life. We talk about me maybe not being the smartest person in the world because I forget to charge my phone at night. Seems like once a month I make that mistake where I was playing my phone and I fell asleep with it like laying on my shoulder, or I put it on the charger but didn't fully charge it. So let me know. Old Time Engineer says, jumping back to the conversation, he has never owned an Apple product except the real one. So he's owned Apple Fruit, but he hasn't owned any other Apple. So I'm guessing you're a Android Microsoft person, Old Time Engineer. Let me know. All right. So there is a major shakeup. So we have a new political administration, and they are shaking up how they're going after the technology. So the previous administration was going after Qualcomm, basically citing them for antitrust. Basically, Qualcomm is a huge player in the world of chips, and they reportedly were being anti-competitive, basically. I'll sum it all up with the way they were manufacturing those chips and doing them. The previous administration was going after them for antitrust on that. Qualcomm came out and said, hey, or Qualcomm came out, denied it all. Now that there's a new administration, the FTC has dropped all charges against Qualcomm for antitrust. It'll be interesting to see. You know, having new political organizations are a pretty major one. I actually supported a little bit of the argument that Qualcomm could have been a little less anti-competitive in how they ran their business. You know, that chips were such a big thing, so important. You couldn't have your phone, you can't have your TV, cars, so much. There's actually a shortage of chips right now that has resulted in delays on all kinds of products out there where we're unable to get what we need to build products. Being able to make sure that we're being fair competition in the world of chip manufacturing, I think is very important. We'll see what happens. NYC, he says he loves Siri, is changing to an Indian accent, but keeping American English vocabulary. That's pretty cool. Did not realize that Siri was adding a more Indian accent to their lamp. I know Siri, Google too, and I think Amazon is also bringing out a lot more voice packs, which I think is great. I need a Dutch American one for my grandma. So my grandma, late 80s, eyesight's been going bad. So we've hooked her up with Echoes throughout the house. Two things for her. First of all, she loves audiobooks and the radio, but was so blind the ability to play her audiobooks and play the radio, change the station, was becoming extremely difficult. She could get around her apartment. She's lived in this condo for 30 plus years, so in the same place, so she could get around. but she was really struggling outside of that to be able to interact with people in the world. Putting an Echo in there, now suddenly she just asks for her favorite radio station, it plays. She asks for her audiobook, it plays. She wants to know what time it is, she asks. And it's huge. For my 80-something-year-old grandma, the Echo devices that we put around her home made her life so much better because, setting an alarm clock in the morning was something she couldn't do. She couldn't see the clock to do it anymore. She's become that blind. But by having the voice controls of an Echo, she could do it. It's amazing. 10 years ago, my grandma's quality of life would have severely been depreciated. But now that we have Echoes, that she can do all this, it's been huge. The other thing is, she doesn't really like wearing those Lifeline bracelets. Having the Echo in the home means if she would ever fall and need help, she can call for help through the Echoes that we've scattered around the home. My other grandma in their younger 80s, she has finally embraced some Echoes on it. During the pandemic, we even got her one of those Facebook video things where she could Facebook message with all of her great grandkids and grandkids and stuff and see them all. She loves it. So technology, it's amazing. The quality of life today is so much better. I want to know from everybody here, what products recently have improved your quality of life that much? What is the biggest jump in quality of life? For my grandma, it definitely has been the Echo device. For somebody with sight issues, the ability to do that has been absolutely huge. I want to know from you what you think of that. Also, I see we have a lot of new people jumping in on the stream. This was kind of a surprise one. I got so frustrated waiting for the desk to come for the new studio. I said, heck it, let's just do it from my office, use my laptop. I know the camera isn't great, the lighting is great, the sound isn't great, but for today, this will work. But we're looking at having a regular, weekly, maybe several times a week, kind of talk show. I don't even know if I want to call this a podcast as much as I want to call this a regular talk radio type show on the internet, which is basically a podcast. I intend to put these up on as an audio only podcast, but do them live where you can ask questions here. You can submit questions by email. And I'm also looking at having a voicemail box where you could call in, leave a question, leave a comment, and then I can play them in the show once we're all set up down in the studio. But I want to know what you want to see from these shows. Would you be interested in something like this? Is this fun for you or not? If we start doing these regularly, would you subscribe? Would you like it? Give me some feedback here. Let me know. We talk the biggest news of the day, like we've been talking with Amazon, Apple turning 45 years old today, and more. Let me know. All right, Echo controls lights, alarm clocks. We use it to listen to Sirius XM, timer for cooking, and on and off. Yeah, Mark, I was thinking about this. I have a couple nice radios. I love listening to talk radio. I love listening to NPR. I love listening to the radio in general. Actually, almost more than watching TV, I have the radio on in the house. But now, I actually have the house wired for Echoes. The house I have here came pre-wired with a PA system, and I wired in an Echo input into it, and that controls that now too. I don't actually listen to regular AM FM radio anymore. It's all done over the air or over streaming through my Echoes. So yeah, whether I'm using the Sirius XM, I'm using iHeart, TuneIn, I'm listening to an audiobook from Audible, and so much more. Yeah, I don't do that. Am I the only one? Anybody here, pretty much, at least when you're at home, ditch your traditional radios in favor of smart devices? Whether that be a Google Home, an Echo, or more, let me know. Have you completely ditched it? And let me know what you think of the idea of the shows being regular live. Maybe we even do some breaking news. If there's massive breaking news in the world of technology, how do you feel if I hop on here and break down what's happening in real time? Leave me a comment. Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. But jumping forward into another topic, self-driving semi-trucks are very close to be reality. Let me make a prediction here. Before self-driving cars for consumers, for you and me, become popular, they're going to become extremely popular in the semi-long-haul trucking industry. The reason being, there is a lot of demand right now for truck drivers. We do not have enough truck drivers out there at this moment. A lot of companies are desperate to get more truck drivers, especially for the long haul routes, the cross country ones and more. Well, there's a new company out there that is basically working to make that reality. The big issue with self-driving semi-trucks is not them driving down the highway. We can pretty much do that very safely right now. It's that final leg, that final drop off where you get into the major city, you have to drive to the factory, to the warehouse, to wherever, and do the delivery there. Well, this new company called Baton has raised $10.5 million to create what they call drop zones. These are going to be basically massive truck stops located just off major interstates where autonomous vehicles could pick up and drop off cargo. So think about this. A semi-truck drives from Dallas, Texas to New York City. Doesn't actually enter Dallas, doesn't actually enter New York City, but pulls into this massive truck stop-like area, parks there. We detach the trailer from it. A human driver picks up the trailer and drives it from that storage unit the last 5 miles, let's say, into downtown New York City and delivers that package. They load up with a new load of whatever products, drive it back to this storage area, this drop-off pickup place in a self-driving truck, picks it up from there and takes it from New York to Vegas, for example. And it's repeated there. So basically, you got self-driving trucks going down wide open interstates, but for that final delivery inside major cities, it's being done by human drivers to make that delivery. Now, people, that's very scary, but it's very much needed. The ability to get out there and get ahead of the fact that, hey, we're already at a point where not enough people want to be semi-truck drivers. We cannot get enough of them to do it. And the demands on cargo are skyrocketing. Having a self-driving truck do this would dramatically lower the cost of transportation. Transportation, especially in the food industry, is one of the most expensive parts of it. Getting your food from the farm to your grocery store is one of the biggest expenses of your food out there. Having a self-driving truck can dramatically help with that. We'll see. Mark points out that self-driving trucks are an AI problem that's going to put lots of family living wage jobs that is not being talked about enough. Yeah, the idea that this is going to put them a lot out. The problem is we just can't get enough people, and that's why I think self-driving trucks are going to become so popular out there. Because if I'm a transportation company and I'm not making the delivery because I don't have enough truck drivers, that means I can't get paid. I'm not going to be a successful company. So they're going to definitely look at that, at the idea that they're going to go and, excuse me, my phone just went off. And they're going to go and want to have you go and place an order. Sorry, my brain's turned off. Back up. Restart. Anybody brain when you get older just sometimes lose track with just something, flashy light. The ability to have truck drivers out there is huge. We need it. There's not enough of them. Companies can't get paid without making the delivery. That's why they're going to spend so much money to invest in self-driving trucks. It's economically viable for them to do it, just because there's shortage. I've heard some trucking companies are only at about 60 to 80% of their total number of drivers they want, which means there's tens of thousands of trucks that should be on the road right now that are not because they just can't get enough drivers. Mark my word, in the next 5 to 10 years, self-driving trucks going down our interstates will become very common and could become more common than people who are actually driving them with humans behind the wheel. Does that scare you? Does that surprise you? Do you agree? Leave me a comment. Let me know. I really want to hear from you. It would really help us get the conversation going. So, all right. Ed says, I would say our Nest Hub, the Max and Mini, and these Spotify for music. Jump back to the smart driving vehicles out there is huge. I'll be honest, the temp and all the automated system here runs off my Google Assistant. I'm with you. Old Time Engineer says, why not invest in human truck drivers? We do. You can get bonuses right now. Let's check this out. Bonus for truck drivers. What is the current sign-on bonus for truck drivers? Sign-on bonuses are found nearly everywhere right now, ranging anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000. $2,000 mostly for inner city routes, $10,000 if you're willing to be a cross-country driver. This comes from CDLjobs.com. Here's another one, simplyhired.com. Here are over, how many jobs are here? Let's see here, 10. Here is several ones. Here we go. $10,000 sign-on bonus. And they are willing to pay you $22 an hour to be a truck driver. Masters Ready Mixed Concrete. They're looking for people to drive concrete trucks. $10,000 sign-on bonus for experienced drivers. We are adding more dedicated routes for whoever, plus an additional $1,000 a week. $5,000 sign-on bonus. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah. On and on. $40,000 to $60,000 a year and be a truck driver. For armed security, this is just somebody driving one of those trucks around for armored delivery of cash and money there. So, yeah, here's a Class B. I'm not a school bus driver. $19 to $22 an hour. That's another thing. We cannot get enough school bus drivers. You can make up to $22 an hour right now driving school buses. I don't know. I do believe that's going to become a reality. Not saying it's a good thing, old-time engineer. I'm just saying I do believe that will become a reality. All right, so is anybody here surprised to find out Apple is 45 years old today? Do you feel old now knowing that Apple was founded 45 years ago today? Steve Wozniak, wow, that was an issue. Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ronald Wayne co-founded Apple back in April 1st, 1976. Now, what's interesting is you probably haven't heard much about Ronald Wayne. Now, Ronald Wayne, according to Steve Wozniak's book I read, apparently got very scared that Apple would not be able to pay their bills. And he was, in his mind, the only one of the three of them that really had money. So he figured that someday the creditors would all come after him because they were borrowing money, building computers, selling them, then taking the profit to pay off the money they borrowed. So he asked to get out, and he didn't get out it wasn't that much money. This was before Apple became big. Now Apple's worth $2 billion. He would be a billionaire right now if he had stayed. He would own about a third of that $200 billion. Wozniak and Jobs stayed on, and eventually they got a huge. Wayne sold his 10% of the company to Wozniak just 12 days after they formed the company. So if you ever think you made a bad financial decision, always remember Ronald Wayne sold his shares of Apple. He owned 1/3 of the company 12 days after it was formed to avoid financial risk, and later would have been a 1/3 owner of a company that was worth $200 billion. So, I don't know. Have you ever made a financial decision that big? I haven't. I wonder if he's kicking himself, though, because I don't believe he bought out that for that much money on it. So leave me a comment. Let me know. What do you think of Ronald Wayne's decision to sell 12 days after Apple was formed? It is interesting, though, to know that Steve Jobs, while very well known as the face of Apple, was actually not the creative engineering behind Apple. Steve Wozniak, which, by the way, is a very fun guy to talk to, if you ever get a chance to do that. Read his books, though, especially the audiobook, well worth it. But they stuck on. Steve Wozniak built the computer. Steve Jobs was the salesperson and the face of the company and the visionary of the company, who took what Steve Wozniak made and said, I can turn this into a business. Pretty cool. Mark asks, is Tesla the new Apple? I would say Tesla is not, but I do think Elon Musk is the next Steve Jobs. I think Tesla is a very successful company, but unlike Apple, where everything is under the Apple umbrella, you got their phone business, the computer business, MP3 business, all that, and all the software and all that. Tesla is just one part of what Elon Musk is doing. He's got SpaceX, he's got Tesla, he's got a few other projects, The Boring Company, and more. I think that is probably maybe one of the biggest Comparisons to Apple, when you look at creativity in the market today of innovating new things and being very creative in what you're doing, I think you could say that Elon Musk's different companies out there is very close to what Apple is or was out there when it comes to advancing what the companies are, being revolutionary. So yeah, let me know what you think of this format. All right, so let's keep on moving. A lot is happening in the world out there, and I want to know, have you noticed that things seem to be getting back to normal? Google announced today that they will start reopening their offices for employees starting in April on a limited basis, so this month, and then they will actually start putting limitations on people's abilities to work from home. If you wish to continue to work from home after a specific date, you need to apply for approval for Google to allow you to become a stay-at-home employee. After September 1st, if you want to work remotely more than 14 days per year. Now, Google, like many companies, has decided that work from home is great, but it actually causes more, it's not as productive as if people are working. So they are intending to push people back into getting into the office. So let me know. I noticed today when I went to the grocery store, for the longest time during the pandemic, you were unable to get weights, gym equipment, and more. I walked into a local Meijer, which is a lot like a Walmart, absolutely jam-packed of it. Bikes were back in stock here in Michigan. Bicycles were hard to find last year. Gym equipment, bikes equipment was all back. Old Time Engineer says, when will this country invest in battery storage for solar? Actually, that's becoming very popular. I've looked into it. For a few $1,000s, you can put a battery in your home. The big problem with battery tech right now, we got the solar panels on our roof, but when there's no light, how am I going to power my home at night, for example? And that's where batteries come in. The ability to put a battery that the solar panel through the day charges, and then you have the battery out there, and you can go and charge your phone and stuff, and run your fridge, run your TV, and more off this battery pack. Elon Musk's company was one of the first big ones, but there's many companies out there. The problem is lithium batteries aren't necessarily the best to do about that. These new graphene batteries, kind of graphene batteries, coming out are right now very expensive, but they charge a lot faster, which means your solar panels will be able to fully charge these each day with a battery. They hold a lot more power per square inch than lithium batteries. They have a lot longer lifespan. The problem with the lithium batteries is in 6 to 8 years, you have to chuck it and replace it on average. Now, I don't know, somebody's going to say, well, sometimes they'll last 10 years. Well, yeah, but some battery packs aren't perfect and they only last 5 years, depending on usage and more. Graphene batteries have a significantly longer lifespan on it, and that will allow you to be able to power your home from batteries. I predict that when graphene batteries become affordable, and we're already starting to see them in smartphones released over in Korea, they will go there. Now, when lithium batteries were released like 15 years ago, they started hitting the markets, they were very expensive. Now lithium batteries are very cheap. I think in the next 5 to 10 years, graphene batteries become affordable to the point where putting a large graphene battery in your home, which can rapid charge, hold a lot more power, and keep its charge a lot longer, will make it so that, charging your home, you're having a solar panel on your roof, charging a battery and running it that way will become financially feasible, where you won't need to be on the grid at all for a reasonable price. We'll wait and see. I'll be honest, whenever I have a 30-year roof on this house we bought, when that goes bad here in the next 10 to 20 years, I'll probably be looking at those solar shingles, which are shingles that are solar panels that will charge it. So we'll see. But I do agree with the Old Time Engineer. Solar right now is not worth it until the battery technology catches up, and that's where the graphene batteries, I believe, will become an invaluable resource for that. We'll see. Mark says, in Alabama, they shut down for 2 months. Unemployment is 4%. We are wide open. I think many places are much more open. Yeah, definitely getting back to normal. Here in Michigan, not so much. I live in one of the states that's probably the most locked down of all of them. And it really pains me now that when I see all my friends back in Texas talking about going out to dinner and restaurants being open and movie theaters being open, I'm like, I miss it. I'm ready to get back to normal. But I got my COVID vaccine. I'm getting ready to get back to normal there. So what do you think of the show format? Do you want to see regular shows like this? and put out into a podcast format. This one's kind of weirdly unscripted a little bit. This, is not in the studio again, not set up. But what do you think of the actual idea of regular shows? Even when there's massive breaking news, just jumping on here and taking a look at all the breaking news that's happening out there in the world of technology, not core-cutted related. Core Cars News would do that. So leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. I will love to hear you. When it's on, Mark, I'm kind of debating about that. I'm kind of thinking about Tuesday afternoons for the weekly, for the afternoon, and then doing some daytime shows like this too. I have some stuff happening this afternoon, so I was unable to do an afternoon show. So I decided to jump on here in the middle of the day, and with no warning, we got a decent little crowd going on here with conversations. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. All right, so here's an interesting story. YouTube stars, the Stoke twins. So I guess these are two twins. Alan and Alex Stoke, twin brothers who rose to fame on YouTube filming prank videos, pled guilty to misdemeanor false imprisonment and reporting false emergencies in connection with a pair of now removed YouTube videos where they filmed in the fall of 2019, in which they pretended to have just robbed a bank. The 23-year-old brothers were charged in August of last year. They face a maximum of 5 years in prison and in connection to all counts, leading to the guilty plea in exchange for reduced sentences, according to the press release. The guilty pleas both received a sentence including 160 hours of community service and 1 year of probation, and both have to pay restitution. The Stoke brothers are also barred from returning to the University of California, Irvine, where they filmed the prank videos, and they were also ordered not to produce any more videos that mimic criminal behavior. So let me know what you think about all that. I find it kind of interesting. The brothers called a Uber driver, demanded they be taken somewhere. The driver refused. After they kind of pretend they had just robbed a bank, they called an Uber driver and see if he would help them be their getaway vehicle. And the Uber driver apparently called the cops, and the cops approached them with their guns drawn, mistakenly believing he was involved. In numerous bystanders called law enforcement on the brothers for thinking they were attempting to carjack the driver. So yeah, don't do anything like that. All right, Ed. All right, old timer. Hope you all take care. Mark, good to see you here. But let me know what you think of this format. Thank you, NYC says, this is why I love your channel, since it feels authentic, positive, and no clout chasing. Feels like I can have a conversation, and it feels relatable. So yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, NYC. Hello, Con. Kalid? I don't know how to say it. I apologize. I am so bad with names. And I have a last name that no one can pronounce in Bauma. So I really should probably be better. But hey, it's good to have you here. I know I just butchered your name. But yeah, so, no, my idea is to, I love the idea of a podcast, but I also love the idea of more of a talk radio format. And with talk radio, we talk about some big news. I monologue for a while. But then we also take calls and take things from the general audience. So we go out there and we answer questions, and then we maybe have emails you can send in. We can live chat. We can maybe even have a voicemail. I can play voicemails here on the show if you pre-submit them. We can do some Q&As. And wouldn't mind even doing some breaking news. Maybe we do some live streams when there's major breaking news happening out there. Leave me a comment. I don't know. What do you think of that? What do you think of this format? Give me some feedback. Let me know what you like about it, what you don't. I'm thinking maybe Tuesday nights for the regular show, and then maybe doing some during the regular daytime. So leave me a comment. Right now we're talking, I see some people are joining us. This is kind of a test stream. I'm not in the studio. I'm waiting for a desk I've ordered to come in the studio so I can set up the computer down there and have a live stream. I got the Ethernet cord now so I can run it into the studio and more. But for now, we're just doing this off my laptop. Down in the studio, when I hopefully next week get that set up, I'll be able to do the professional camera, the professional lighting, the professional microphone, and more for much better quality videos there. But yeah, so let me know what you think of the format of talking about some of the biggest tech news happening in the world, some big news stories in general, some big things happening in my life. And then we'll just go on there. Hello, Omar. Welcome. All right, so what's my favorite razor blade for shaving my head? I actually use the Gillette, the new FlexBall ones in there. I absolutely love that because it can make it a lot easier. So NYC, let me know what you think of the test stream, the podcast, what you think of the ideas out there, everybody. And we'll kind of keep going. But what do you think about Tuesdays? Tuesdays around 8 p.m. Eastern, maybe? I don't know. Maybe do a Tuesday during the evening. Maybe during a weekday we do a morning show. So keep that in mind. All right. There we go. Taking care of a little bit of traffic there. But let me know. I don't know. We're playing around with the show and everything out there and seeing how it all will play out. I did intend to do the regular videos here. Probably do more about 3 times a week. And then do 3 regular videos and then do a bunch of live shows with it. Yeah, NYC, I definitely don't want to do Wednesday. I don't want to compete with Jess. And again, I ask everybody, for all cord cutting things, take it to Jess. Would I make Taco Bell drive-thru only? No, but I may make some locations drive-thru only. Increasingly, more and more stores are going drive-thru only. I see a lot of coffee joints where, like Starbucks and more, and Big B Coffee. Anybody here have a Big B Coffee by you? It's kind of a Midwestern thing. They're, I think they're in the South Carolina. They're also in Texas now. Based on Michigan originally, spreading across the country. They're doing a lot of coffee stands, basically. They're small little coffee things only put into like a Walmart parking lot, where they're putting these coffee places inside, not inside Walmart, but inside Walmart parking lots. So let me know. My idea on quarantine, with all things, there's a time and place for it. All right. Any questions or anything out there you want to have for me, leave me a comment. Let me know. I got about another 10-15 minutes here. We'll do the Q&A. I hope in the video, I know this is just my laptop. My laptop camera, my basic microphone. I can't wait to get in the regular studio, so I apologize about the quality not being the greatest. Automation is inevitable to a point. I think there's a lot of jobs that automation just is very, very far away from ever taking over. Though I do think truck driving is probably one of them where self-driving trucks are on its way. There is a massive demand for truck drivers. If you need a job and you want a good job and you don't mind driving, being a truck driver is it. I thought about it for a little while. I actually like it, but probably the same reason I don't become a truck driver is why a lot of people don't. I have kids. I want to be home. I want to be around. Robot police. Actually, there are robot police. Many major cities are investing, and they have robots that now drive around and look for vehicles out there that are parked illegally, expired plates, parked past the times they're allowed. So there are robots out there. When I lived in Missouri, we did spend time at Fort Leonard Wood. I've talked about that many times in these videos, but yeah, Fort Leonard Wood's one of the military posts I have been at. I remind you of your physics teacher, Ali. Well, that's great. Hopefully he was smart. I would like to think that means that if he was a physics teacher, I must convey some false impression that I know what I'm talking about in life. I have never been to Kuwait, so... All right, so any questions, any comments, get them in. I got a few more minutes. We'll wrap this up, but look for next week, Tuesday, for us to do an 8 p.m. one. I'll love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on hybrid SUVs? I'm considering getting a hybrid RAV4. I think they're great. The problem with the hybrid vehicles, I think, still is the fact that if you intend to own it for 8 or more years, the battery packs need to be replaced. And once the battery packs need to be replaced, that they suffer. In extreme hot climates, the battery power goes down. In extreme cold, the battery power goes down. I think once we get the graphene batteries, I think it's great. I think that will address a lot of those issues. But with a lot of things, I think the hybrid SUVs out there aren't bad at all. My brother has one. I have one with the aggressive auto stop start, but not a hybrid one. So I can't really talk about that directly. All right. Any other questions out there? I'll love to hear from you. And leave me a comment. Let me know if there's anything in particular you want me to do, anything you want me to add. And we'll do our best to definitely go and incorporate that in a few shows. Would you be interested? Would you call in and leave a voicemail? Do you want an email to submit questions to? Leave me a comment and let me know. Yeah, NYC, I did a brief video on it if you want to dig back. It was late last year where I talked about new technologies and batteries. But yeah, graphene batteries are very cool. They're coming out on cell phones. It's quite remarkable. What do I think of Chromebooks? I actually absolutely love Chromebooks. I have a Chromebook. When I started Core Cars News, my laptop was a Chromebook. A lot of the early stories for Core Cars News was written on a Chromebook. Eventually, I went back to a Windows laptop. One thing, because I needed a very powerful video editor for when I was at conventions. I wasn't able to go out there and edit video at a convention. So I needed to get a Windows laptop for that. But Chromebooks will probably be my next one. Without the need to edit video on a laptop, Chromebooks are excellent for it. So I'll probably go with that in the future. Yeah, NYC, I'll probably work on setting up an email address here and maybe and a voicemail where people can call into with it. And they can ask questions there. Sorry, I was just kind of taking care of some stuff in the chat there. So that people can open up. I kind of view this as more of a talk show than a podcast where we can talk about some of the biggest stories of the day and then go from there and add in more. Yeah, Brian, we'll probably have to look into adding some more mods, but I think we've taken care of the troublemakers. Yeah, I think we can definitely go and do all of, I think we do Tuesdays 8 p.m. Eastern right here every week. And then I'll probably do a weekday during the day show also. So keep that in mind. You're going to send me a question to the post office? That's always a possibility, but we'll see. I'll be setting up some more stuff, but no. And who knows? Maybe we can figure out how to do some live call-ins with some of the old regulars here. Nice thing about having the emails and having the voicemails is I can pre-sift through them and have it rather than trying to have a conversation as I read the chat, as I interact with everybody. So let's kind of dive into a few last quick stories here and go from there. NYC says, speaking of podcasts, it would be cool if you could collaborate with Learning Lots podcast. You know, that's actually a podcast I've never checked into. I'll have to look into that one and see if it fits me at all. I need a P.O. box. Maybe someday in the future we'll get a P.O. box, but not yet. All right, so health update. I see a lot of people here probably asking how my surgery went. The hip surgery went very well. Very happy with how that all came together. Thank you to everybody with the kind words. My healing is way ahead, so it's going to be about 6 full months for healing. I'm at about the 8-week mark, and my healing overall is very nice. I walked about 3 miles yesterday without any pain. Now, we'll just walk. It wasn't running or anything. Overall, it definitely does get sore, but it definitely has been a huge help there. So thank you, everybody, for your kind words. Thank you so much for all the help and patience and support there. I really do appreciate all that. I've been hoping to do these live shows for a while. The surgery and all that kind of delayed all that. Also, just getting the desk. I still don't have the desk delivered yet. That I want to put in there so I can sit behind a desk, have a separate computer down there to kind of manage it all and control it. Brian says he had surgery in February yourself. What were you in the hospital for 3 weeks? I'll tell you my hospital story real quick while I wait. It was kind of amazing. It was an in-out surgery. It was an outpatient, so I went home the same day. They reattached a detached ligament. They sewed up the labrum, which is basically the cartilage that sits around your hip joint. Then they shaved the ball joint and the neck of the ball joint on my hip. Well, so I did not sleep well the night before, which is probably a big part of the story. So I'm in the room getting set up for my surgery. And they give you that shot, and they say, hey, this is going to start the process. You fall asleep, and you'll fall asleep once you're in the thing. They start wheeling me down to the OR where they're going to do the surgery. And as I'm going down there, they're starting to talk to me. And the next thing I know, I never made it to the OR. Back into the original room. So my reaction is like, okay, what happened? Did we cancel the surgery? Did something go wrong? Why didn't my surgery happen? And the nurse goes, no, you had a surgery. Nope, surgery happened. You're all fine. It's all done. It's been 3 hours since you were put under. To me, that 3 hours was like that. I have no recollection of those 3 hours of that. So unfortunately, that is what it is. So I'm in the room. I pass out again. I'm sleeping. The next thing I know, they're taking the IVs out and they're saying, hey, time to go home. I hope I just didn't hide somebody. Nope, I didn't. All right. It is kind of what it is. But I've had other surgeries where I remember getting to the ER. I remember waking up in the recovery room. Not this time. I don't remember getting into the OR. I don't remember the recovery room. I basically just remember going back there, and the next thing I know, they're basically telling me it's time to go home. It was quite the thing. So Brian says he neurocognition. I have no idea what that is, Brian. I don't know how to pronounce that. What exactly does that mean? Fluffy Ravy says he had a defibrillator put in at only 32. I've known quite a few people who've had to have things like defibrillators put in. Funny story about your heart. Middle school science class. We had a nurse come in and they brought a portable ultrasound machine into my middle school. And they were, each class got to have a presentation, and the nurses talked a lot about blood transfusions and what it means to be a nurse. And then they asked, would somebody be willing to go out there and get their heart looked at with an ultrasound? And one of the guys in my class said, sure. Of course, had to be a guy because they had to take off his shirt. So the guy, middle schoolers, I think we're 8th graders. He hops on the table, and they start doing the ultrasound, and the nurse is pointing, okay, well, here's the valves of his heart. Here's how it's beating, and more. And then she goes, oh, wow. And we're all like, what? She goes, you have a valve in your heart that's not closing. She goes, that's very dangerous. You need to see a doctor. So the nurse just randomly did his ultrasound there to show the class on the big TV how ultrasounds work in this portable ultrasound machine. And they found a serious heart issue. And apparently they sent a note home. They called the parents, and the nurse was like, hey, you need to take your kid into the doctor. He has a major heart valve issue. Probably saved his life. Probably been one of those people that, like, in his young 20s, one day just drops dead because he had a heart issue he never knew about. But since he just volunteered to be somebody to get an ultrasound in a middle school science class when some nurses came to talk about what it means to be a nurse and all that, probably saved his life. Last I heard, he's still alive. I kind of lost track of him after high school. But yeah, I'll always remember him volunteering to get an ultrasound in science class in 8th grade, and it's saving his life. Brian says he had flesh-eating bacteria. Wow. Are you okay? So were they able to take care of it all? Were they able to seal it all up, make it better? Let me know, Brian. I'll have to hear from you. His cardiomyopathy, yeah, I can't pronounce it. Again, I'm just awful at pronouncing things sometimes. But I've heard people with that. Hey, Google C, good to see you here. Thanks for joining us. But yeah, so the breakdown, weekly shows out there. Maybe sometimes a week. Let me know. Would you like also breaking news? We've talked about 8 p.m. Tuesdays. I'll probably make a post about this on Twitter and other places. 8 p.m. Tuesdays, maybe having regular live shows. But what do you think about, hey, wow, there's some really cool big breaking news. We do a live video of it and more. So let me know what you think of that and more. I'd love to hear from you. So, there we go. All right, so I think I'm going to be wrapping this up. Let me know what you think of everything. I'd love to hear from you. Brian says, slow recovery. How long does it actually take to recover from that? Going to take a couple months, but how many is a couple months? Because I know, like, my hip surgery is 6 months for full recovery. And I'm very grateful to be walking around right now without pain. How long was your surgery? Leave me a comment real quick. But we're going to wrap this up. Thank you to everybody who was here. I hope you enjoyed it. I think we'll do a lot more of these. We'll see how it all plays out. Leave me a comment. But I'm hoping that by the time we get to Tuesday that the desk shows up and we can put this in the basement downstairs and get into the studio with the padded sound, with the professional cameras, professional lighting, and more to help make the experience here really better. Brian, so no defined number. Well, I hope whatever it is that you have very quick healing, faster than I'll keep you in my thoughts and prayers with that. All right, everybody, I hope you have a fantastic day. I'll definitely announce the next live stream for next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, way in advance. I know this time we just kind of threw it up so I could test out everything. Love to hear your thoughts and your beliefs on it. If you're new here, watching this for the first time, hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. By hitting the subscribe, hitting the thumbs up, it really does help because it lets YouTube know you enjoy what we do here. Hopefully we can help you learn something new. Check out my other videos. We're going to probably have 3 regular produced videos a week, do 1 or 2 live shows a week. It's kind of the format I'm looking at right now. So leave me a comment, let me know. I hope you all take care. Thanks for your support. I'm going to go head out and spend some time with the family. Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate it.